Hello everyone and welcome to the part 5 of block clone project. So we finished the blog post views and URLs. That is the class based views that work with the actual blog post, but we still need to actually create the template for the blog post class based views. That is the actual HTML files that link up to those views. And after that we can create the function views that are going to handle the comments. So let's get started and hop over to the editor. All right, here I am at the my editor, and what we are going to do is first create all the template that will match up with the views that we created here in our classes, and we will create one extra template for the actual comments. We already have our about page template that was actually quite easy. Remember, that was the very first one we did, and it's just linking to the actual base HTML, which does not have much of anything right now. Let's create a couple more templates. Going to right click on blog and create a new file, and we are going. So, so we have this HTML, and I do recommend that you follow along and name these HTML files exactly the same name that I am doing. Otherwise, when you actually run the server, you may see some errors that we saw and discussed. This is also we discussed when we talked about class-based views, that they are actually default names that Django looks for. So you need to completely focus on the name that are mentioned in the file. So let me tell you one thing. Let take a break for 1 minute. Then I will start. Okay. So we talked about class-based views, that they are actually default names that Django looks for. So there's our post detail. Let's also create our post underscore form, the HTML page, and let's create another one. And this is one is going to be the our post underscore list, that HTML. It's going to be our home page with all the list of all the posts, and let's create a draft list. So we will say post underscore draft underscore list, then HTML. And then finally, I want the delete for the post. So we'll say new file, and this one goes post underscore confirm uh, underscore delete. So usually when you click on delete buttons, you need some sort of confirmation page. So there it is. And what we are also going to add in here is a comment forms, that HTML. So we have not done any comment views, but we will in just a second. So let's create a new file and say this is the comment underscore form HTML. So we have not done any comment views, but we will in just a second. So let's create a new file and say this is the comment underscore form dot html. Okay, so we have the about the base, the comment form, post, confirm delete post and delete post draft list, post form and post list, and then under registration. What I am going to do is create a new file called login HTML and note that this is going under the registration subdirectory under templates, and we will discuss registration, authorization, all that later on. We are going to do a little differently because basically we are kind of doing the steps a super way, since those super users are going to be people that are actually able to log in. I'm going to close all these template files and templates that I have just made later on. We are going to be working with those a lot more, but here are my URLs, and this is the URLs. We will come back to this later. That's my about that HTML page, and here we are there are my views. So since we are going to do what we did in the previous lecture, a bunch of views and then links a bunch of URLs to them, but in this case we will do it for the comment. So we already did everything that has to do with the blog post. Let's continue on with the comments. So scroll all the way down, and if you want to match up kind of the notes, I did some sort of comment or some hashtags here. So there is a bunch of hashtags, just so we can kind of get an idea of what's going on and separate everything else out. So first we need to do is have some sort of publication for the comment itself. So we'll call this df define, and let's have this be something like add comment to post and underscore comments that underscore to underscore post. So this will allow us to add a comment to a post, and I am going to have this be a request and take in a primary key. And what we need to do is actually import a couple more things in order to make this all work. So what I want to do is get the object or for for then and redirect and render. So coming all the way back up, I will collapse the tree right now, so we get a little more room. It is up here and where it says Django shortcuts. Not only will I import render, but I will also import object or 404. And we'll talk about that later on. And then I also want the redirect. And then I also want to make sure I have login required, since we will be using that later on. And then something else I probably want is time zone. So we'll say from Django dot utils import time zone. And I know it looks kind of crazy if all these from import statement at the very top. So feel free to separate these of comments or kind of in chunks, however make more sense to you. But let's continue on, scroll all the way back down here, and we'll come back to add comment to post. So what we are going to do is have the post object inside of this function be equal to get object or 404, and it will take in a post model object and have uh, pk equal to the primary key provided with the request call. And I want this to require being logged in. We don't have to require login, just have anyone make a comment, but we want to have the login required just to kind of get some practice with that decorator. So say if the request method is equal to post, and hopefully it's kind of jogging your memory, we'll say form is equal to comment form, and then we'll take request post, and we'll say if that form that is valid, What we are going to end up doing is grabbing the command saying form.save, and I don't want to commit this quite yet. So say commit is equal to false. What I want to do is connect that particular comment post to the post object, and then I want to save it. And then once that's all done, we are going to just return a redirect. So say redirect to the post detail page with the primary key being equal to that post primary key, and else. So let's say the request method, it was not a post, meaning someone has not actually filled out the comment form. We'll say form is equal to comment form, and after all that will return. So we need to render the actual page. So we'll say request, and I am going to have it say blog slash comment underscore form HTML. And if I expand my directory, I can confirm here it was called comment form HTML. So that's what I am putting in here. And then we are going to say pass in a context dictionary where the form is form. Hopefully this is more or less a little familiar to you, given what we covered back when we are talking about forms. So in case you are feeling a little fuzzy on this, let's quickly go over everything. We have this decorator, which is convenience decorator, to make this entire view require being logged in. So in order to add a comment to a post, we take in a request and the primary key that links the actual comment to the post. So if you are on a post detail page and you click OK, I want to comment on this, there is a primary key that goes along with that post, and then we are going to say, all right, either get that object, the post object, or the 4 or page, that is 404, meaning you can find it and pass in the post model, and then pk is equal to this post, pk primary key. So if the request method is equal to post, meaning someone's actually filled in the form and hit enter, so something we have the form is equal to the comment form passing that request if the form is valid, meaning they did not miss anything up. We have the save of the form, however the set comment false. That way we have at least some sort of form in memory when we say comment post is equal to the post object. And basically what this does is, if we take a look back at our models, remember that the actual comment has an attribute called post, which is connected by a foreign key, which is the actual post over here. And that's basically what's happening here. We are saying, okay, that comment dot post, it make it equal to the post itself, and then save it once to you. You are all done, and with that, redirect the post detail page with the primary key being equal to the post pk post.pk, which again is just the pk or primary key for that actual blog post. Otherwise, so if this whole thing that it happened as well, the form is just equal to the comment form, and we'll just return the comment form, that HTML passing in the form for the context dictionary. So when I actually come to this comment underscore form, that HTML page over here, this is where I am going to inject that form context dictionary. All right, so that's it. Hopefully that feels pretty okay to you, but we still need to add that to our urls.py. So let's do that now. Over here in urls.py, we are going to have everything kind of goes a bunch of long lines, but that's okay for us. We'll say URL, and I just created the add comment to post. So what we are going to do here is for regular expression, but you need to use the path method and do ChatGPT for that. I'm going to say the following caret post slash and then copy and paste this primary key regular expression. And then what I am going to do is say slash comment slash dollar sign. Where are you? So there it is. And then we'll say views dot add comment to post. And let's dive it give it a name that just says given it the same name and comment to post as the function, then there it is. And then what I am also going to do is add a comma there at the very end. So saving that, let's come back to views.py, and we have one view down but not too many more. We just need to add in a approval of the comment, a removal of the comment, view, and then we will also use function based views to the actual publication. So let's finish off the comments, and it's up to you whether you want to do it below or above this, but I will go ahead and do it below. So, and we are going to make one about a common approval. So you should have to be login to approve a comment. So we'll just put that in now. So decorators login. So we'll say login required and we'll say comments approve, and again it takes a request and a primary key, and then we will say comment is equal to get object or 404 thing, and we are actually going to be grabbing the comment in this case, and then we will just say comment dot approve. So if you come back to the models, I should probably just open this since we are going to be referencing it. So if we come back to the models, we have this approved comment method, and if you have the comment, you have this approved common method here. So what happens is if you call that method, you just say it's an approved comment. So you set this field equal to true when its default was false. So we just called the approved method on that actual model object, and that's all you have to do for the common approval, which makes sense. So we'll see return redirect, and we'll send that back to the post detail page with the primary key being the comment post uh, pk. So what's actually happening here, again come back to your model and it's all explained. Remember, the comment is connected to a particular post, and if I want to after approving that comment go to the post of that comment, then I need the post that pk. So it's actually coming back, the comment was linked to, and that's all there is. So we'll save that, and let's add it to our urls. Again, kind of a tedious process, but it's not so bad considering that you are really building a website with not that much code. All right. So what we have to do here is we just created the comment approval. I will say caret comment slash, and we'll copy this so that it links, and then we'll say slash approve slash dollar sign. We'll call views dot, and I think it's called common approve, and let's give it the same name. Name is equal to comment approve. There we go. And note that I am passing it in a as a string, so I am kind of taking advantage of this atom text editor for functions and then just using it for a string there. So we have two views, add a comment to post and the comment approved view. We'll come to views.py again, and then what we are going to do is create another function view. We will have this one also be logging required. So we'll say login required, And let me make a few more lines here just so you have more spaces to see this. We'll say this is for removing a comment. So we'll say comments remove. This takes in a request and the PK. It's going to feel really similar to what we just did, and we'll say the comments is equal to object or 404 of that particular comments where the PK is equal to PK. And then what we are going to say is the post underscore PK is equal to comments dot post PK. So linking that up, basically that we did over here and setting it as a new variable. And the reason for that is because I want to say comment dot delete. So I am deleting that comment from my database, and then I want to return a redirect and go back to the post detail and then say pk is equal to post detail. So pk is equal to post pk. So you might be wondering, well, why did not you just do the same thing you did here where he said comment up post pk? Well, remember, if I say delete by the time you get to return, it's not going to remember what that post peak was. Why is, which is why I need to save it as an extra variable before I delete this. So this approval and this remove are almost the exact same thing, except I have to actually save that post primary key as a separate variable. So about the time I delete it, I still remember it over here. So pretty simple logic as far as what we are doing, and as you get more experience, these things will kind of come more naturally to you, especially as you move on to just purely class based views or for comments using some sort of outside library like discuss. But now we are kind of just grinding it out the hard way to get review on everything we have ever covered in this course, at least most of what we covered in this course. And then we are going to do here is this setup that URL linked to it. So we'll have this be comment as well, and I'm going to copy and paste this. It's almost going to be the exact same URL, except instead of approving it, we are going to remove it slash dollar sign, and then we will say comma views dot comments remove, and then we'll say same is equal to that name is equal to comments underscore remove. Okay, so coming back to views, we have three functional views all related to the comments. I need one more function view in order to publish things, and that is the published post. So I will make this also a login required, and this will be our last view. I know you are probably tired of writing these views by now. So we'll say post publish request takes on a primary key. And this one, it's going to look pretty similar to the one we just made, except now it's related to the post. So we say the post is equal to get object or 404 or the post pk equal to pk, and then we are going to say post publish, and after that I am going to return a redirect to the post detail page. So once you actually hit publish, you go straight to that post detail page where the primary key is just the primary key of the post you just made. And once we finish this functional view, we need to just come over to your urls.py and add it in here. So again, we'll say urls, and we'll do some regular expression here. Okay, but now we are using the path method. Please update that. And we'll say this is post, and we are kind of going to add this to whatever this is. So it's essentially the exact same thing here, except instead of remove. Let's copy this and just paste it in and say we are still some typing, but we are not removing something for a post. We are going to be publishing that post, so we'll say that publish or slash publish views dot, and this should be called post underscore publish, and the name of this, so we'll just give it the same name, post underscore publish. Save that, and now all your URL patterns are ready to go. So we have about 10 URL patterns, I believe 5 through 15, when we have all our reviews ready to go. So you did a lot of work here, about 85 lines of code if you count the blank spaces or blank lines. Not bad. So we have all our reviews, all our URLs ready to go. And if we look at our templates, we have all the blank template that are ready to be filled out. Next thing you have to do is just fill out these template, make sure everything works together, set up the actual Bootstrap, CS and JavaScript for everything for those kind of special features, and we should be pretty damn close to getting a full functional website now. Just the simple templates. Okay.